Greetings and welcome to Stunthanger Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthanger Video Hangouts. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthanger forum member to find the link to be part of the live stream and the following after party. Here at Stunthanger Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthanger Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. If you are not a member or not logged into Stunthanger Forum, the At the Bench link will not appear. If you are not a member, please register at stunthanger.com/SMF. That's stunthanger.com/SMF. That's Smart Men Flying. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthanger will not approve you. If you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching this on YouTube. Wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your comments or questions a part of the show. Understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient. I will ask our illustrious panel your questions or state your comments. And by the way, you only can make these comments or questions during a live stream. So like I said, I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, if you find the Stunthanger Video Hangouts that I host, or the many building and flying and contest videos that Sparky does on this platform informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up. That's a like. Then give us, and also subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit the notification bell so that whenever myself or Sparky's on, you'll be notified. Share the videos, comments also help the Stunthanger YouTube channel grow. Please consider joining the Stunthanger YouTube channel memberships, which start at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And all you do is just hit that join button here right below the screen. And you can also use the super chat, which is located on the bottom of the chat box to make donations. You only can use the super chat donation feature during a live stream. So like I said, every Monday and Friday, please come on in and hit the chat button, hit the super chat, make a donation. And if it's more convenient for you to come back at a later time to watch the whole show, well, that'd be fantastic. And don't forget the like. Now, your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunthanger, and with your memberships, you'll get special badges in the YouTube chat box that Sparky and I can see. And also as a member, you'll get unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. Now, this is Sparky's YouTube channel, Stunthanger. Okay, I'm only in here twice a week. And so if you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube channel, which is Flying Control Line Stunt. That's Flying Control Line Stunt. All the letters are there, even if they're repeated. And place your comment or question on the 2019 AMA National Championship video, which Sparky shot with his camera of me flying his beautiful Junar XL, which is a light and a beautiful flying plane. And if you do that, I'll be notified because it's my channel and I'll respond to you quickly. I want to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. You are making it happen. Please keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't do or say around your own children or grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm going to post the link at Stunthanger Forum. Let me turn my attention there. And let me find the link. Let me see, where did that link go? Just bear with me for a second here. I don't know what happened to the link here. Let's see here. Let's see if it's here. No, it's not there. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'm posting the link. So the link to the At the Bench it should be there now with today's date, January 28th. And let me close this. And I'm going to turn my attention to I see there's some people already there. Let me get to the control panel and see how we're doing as far as concurrent viewers and all that stuff. Waiting on my computer. There we go. Now it's progressing. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I meant to go flying today, and it's the first time I've been blown out. I mean, I didn't even bother to unload my car or vehicle. I don't know what the wind was, but it was, I think Lynn Brow says Huey. It was a Huey today, something like that. And it was really blowing. I hear somebody coming in. All right, so, oh, wow. So Dennis Adamson says, hi, Charles. Like delivered. Edit the title. It's Friday. It's Friday? Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. I will fix that in the post. Oh boy. And then Mark Lumen says, luckily you don't have to depend on shipping. Like that's true. Hey Howard, how are you doing?
Okay.
I'll be right there. And then Marcel Legrand says, evening, Charles. And everyone, it's so hot here, guys. Wow, that's amazing. And Jackson Avley says, hello, all, like delivered. Good evening. And then oh, thank you, Sparky. See, Sparky got my back, y'all. He fixed it. He edited it to say Friday. Thank you, Sparky. I appreciate that. And Terry and the Pirates. Hey, Terry. Terry Forbes is here. He says, hey, Charles and modelers holding the fort here in South Florida, Terry and the Pirates. And he says, P.S. Great job, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much, Terry. I appreciate that. I was thinking about you earlier, Terry, this week. Let me see here. I got to fix my screens here. So I'm okay. There we go, Howard. Now I see your shop and see you.
Yeah.
I can see what's going on in the show. Fantastic. Thanks for coming in early. I appreciate that.
Well, it's good to be here.
Absolutely. Now someone else is coming in here. I think this is Sparky, I think.
Sparky.
I think it's the name is Stunt. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sure he or she will reveal themselves. So Howard, what you been up to?
Well, I'm packing up to go to Tucson.
Wow, what's going on in Tucson? Is this the
there's a model airplane contest. People there are gonna fly some stunt.
Oh man, it's the Southwestern Regionals.
Yeah.
I can't believe how fast this year is off to a roaring start. I'm not ready anyway, so that's a little bit of a drive for me.
That's that me?
No, I think that was Sparky. Hey Sparky, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Hi, Sparky.
Hey, what's up, Howard?
Thanks for fixing my my title. I appreciate that, Sparky.
No problem. I did it both on YouTube and in Stunthanger.
Well, you know, if I'm gonna mess up, might as well mess up big. Go big or go home.
That's it.
So Howard, you're taking what are you taking down there to the Southwestern Regionals?
Same old dog.
Well, that same old dog looks beautiful. I remember how pretty it looks like plastic. I think it's so shiny.
You got a new one almost done.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Yeah, last week you was painting the wing during the show.
Yeah, fixing the wing, and it's all fixed now, and I'm about to toot on the blocking coat.
Very cool. So you and Mary Lou are driving down there?
No, Mary Lou's going to stay home, and people are coming to fix the leak in the shop and the leak in the house before it rains again, I hope. So,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know she can hold the fort down while you're gone.
I hope so. Yeah.
So this is your garage I'm looking at?
This is the shop. This is over by the door where I'm going to load the car. So.
All right. Well, and I'm totally confused. So you call this the shop?
This is the shop.
And the other place with the wood siding, that is what?
That's more shop. Yeah, that's the people who lived here before, they were going to get horses, so they put in 2 horse stalls, and they got wood around the horse stalls, and fortunately no horses ever lived here.
Yes.
So I filled in the doors for the horses, which didn't fit very well. Let cold air in and stuff. And now one is my paint booth and getting ready to fly booth, depending on what's going on. And the other is the laser bay.
Wow. Now, when you want to go flying, which door do you exit to get to your flying circle?
The one in that wooden room.
Wow, man.
Or horse thing.
Wow, I would love to come visit you sometime. Come up here to the stunt ranch.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Come on up.
Sounds good. I definitely will take advantage of that, especially if I have a
Told the neighbors I'd only fly electric though, so you got to bring electric airplanes.
Hang on one second. Let me take this. I actually invited this person to come on in. Hang on. I'll mute my mic. Go ahead, you guys. Hey, Steven, how's it going?
Hey, John.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Sparky. Yeah, good, man.
Got anything to show us today?
No, I've been lazy this week. I've been working a bunch and just hadn't got much else done. I think I got gotta get the wingtips on and probably cover it this weekend. I'm still throwing the coin up and down. I'd like to just practice with my silk span. Yeah. The ultra code is so easy, but yeah, I think I'll it's a small airplane. I think I'll practice with the silk span and the dope and the finish. You know, it's not like it's a big airplane. So yeah, that'd be fun. And I'm gonna go with the red head.
How much silk span do you have?
I got quite a bit. Well, I say quite a bit. I mean, I've got some old, I think, yeah, it was out of some of the old Sterling kits, you know. Now I also have some that I got from Brodak. I understand the Brodak stuff is not that great, you know.
Well, since they actually stopped making silk span in Japan, and
Yeah.
so silk span has gotten to be like unobtainium.
I said silk span just because that's what it's branded under. It might, I'm sure it's not, you know, like I say, it's the
you may if you got out old Sterling kits, it's most likely is silk span, and you know.
It does the tear test pretty good, you know. It's a little discolored, but you know, it'll be fine. Yeah.
I would save that personally for covering the balsa parts, the fuselage and such, because I really think silk span does a really good job for that, and then use poly span on the wings.
You know, I might order some of that poly span. That seems like it's a pretty easy process too, right? I mean, you know.
Well, Yeah, there's several ways you can put it on. You don't have to wet it first off, you know.
Mhm.
You can use dope to put it on. You can use heat to shrink it. You could also, but what I like to do is get Stix-It or one of those products that you paint on, and then it's heat sensitive, and you put it on like monocoat. And then you could go ahead and shrink it to the final like monocoat. And then but you have to make sure two things. One, which way the grain is running. And two, which is the shiny side, because the other side has these little filaments sticking out. And if you put it on backwards.
Actually, on Sparky's videos, yeah.
But
that's good.
My Pathfinder LE and several of my airplanes are covered with polyspan.
Good, yeah. And like I said, this is all just practice and experiments for me, but I'm enjoying it. So I've got a nice supply of Ultracoat, but I'm thinking, it's for that fancy pants, So it's a classic, So I think I'm gonna just, like I say, build it for the plans and do a normal covering on it, whether it's polyspan or spokespan and that kind of finish. I've got a pretty good McCoy redhead I'm going to stick in there, and I think that's going to be plenty.
Well, that's going good. That's great for classic,
Yeah.
You might also consider silk. I used to be able to buy silk handkerchief, not neck scarves.
The neck scarf.
Yeah, they're big and they're all nicely colored, that. You used to be able to buy those pretty cheap. I can't tell you how many airplanes I covered with those babushkas.
It's funny you said that. I was having a conversation with Dave actually one time, and I said, it might be a fun deal to find one of the old headscarves. But remember the old headscarves that had like paisley patterns all over it, wild funkadelic patterns,
Yeah.
That would be.
I stole many of my mother's.
Who said that? That was Sparky. Yeah, your mother had to go around without a scarf, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah. Well, I covered that first magician I made in True Silk with Dave's help, and that's pretty tough. I mean, once it's done, it's tough. I mean,
it's tough going on. It's tough when it's done.
Yeah,
unless it gets too dry.
I think the biggest issue I had was just around the wingtips and not keeping it wet enough, and then not having something to get it to stick down good. But it turned out okay,
Oh yeah. Covered. I don't know. If I had a big supply of silk span, which I don't have any. All I got is doctor paper now. But if I had a big supply, I'd be reticent, knowing what I know now, of putting it on the wings and stab an elevator, because I haven't done anything really works as well as silkspan did on covering the, sealing up the fuselage. So
Japanese tissue.
You like Jap tissue?
I love it.
Now, maybe I got the wrong stuff, Sparky, but the stuff I got would, if I pull on it a little bit, why it'd come apart.
Yeah.
And that made it tough for me. Dang, you got a steady hand.
Oh well, yeah.
I couldn't do that unless you wanted that psychedelic swirly stuff.
Now the Hellcat I'm doing out at Dave's is Japanese tissue, so that's a.
How's that going? Did you do the wings on that?
Yeah, wings are on. I've got it covered. I've got. I'm down to maybe one more sanding coat. I'll get another coat of clear on it, and about ready for color. Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's just one of those. When I go out there, that's what I work on. And I guess the good thing about it is what, that's been a month or so ago that I got it covered. So it's been sitting on the wall, gassing off all this time. So that's that probably doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, I built a We Duper Zilch 10 years or so ago, maybe more than that, 12, 13 years ago. It was a neat little airplane for old time stunt, and I had a Enya 10 on it. And boy, it was a pretty decent little flying airplane. And I covered that with Japanese tissue. And that's where I found out about it coming apart if I pulled on it too much. But it really looked good. It really looked good when I got it all done. It had that almost see-through look, on it, on the wings and that. I really liked it.
Right.
But after a couple of years, I think that's when it started to crack, and it all went to hell.
1 drop of castor oil per ounce of dope.
You had to say that,
yeah. That's good to hear again, because I've heard that before. That's with my lifespan of my airplanes and my flying career,
it don't matter.
I won't have to worry about it cracking.
Well, that gets better and better. It changes. You get better and better, Mark. After a while, I know. Lasts years and years.
Oh yeah, I was excited because I my last several flying adventures. I've got in 20 or 30 flights, and I'm coming back with the same airplane, and not too many twists in the lines, and I'm all happy, and then of course.
I remember when that happened to me. Yeah. It was kind of neat, because you're coming home and you weren't carrying your airplane home in a bag,
That's right. That's right. Picking up all the pieces scattered across the But well, that last one, that was just me. That was just my dumb butt,
I got to tell you about my first flight streak. They just came out, and I got one of the kits. They were either $295 or $395 for the kit. And me, I was working a paper route to pay for my stuff, so that was a month's wages. But I got that built. I got it out, flew it, and boy, did that thing fly! Man, it was head and shoulders above my Sterling P-50 or F-51 that I had been flying, and so I was really happy with it. And I think I had like 6 flights on it when I dorked it.
Oh,
and it was, the fuselage was okay. The stab and the elevator were okay. I tore up the leading edge of the wing on either the inboard or the outboard wing. So, it had that machine shape on the front, and then it had a machine shape on the back for the ribs to stick into. And I don't know if they do that this way. It wasn't a slot. It was like a 3-sided groove. Well, anyway, so I built up the 3-sided groove setup of that and replaced that leading edge on that and put it back together. And boy, that sucker still flew good. So I flew that for quite a while before I think I gave it to one of the new club members that was coming, a young kid. So yeah,
that's great.
That was a fun airplane.
I think what I found, being relatively new to the hobby and flying, I love building just as much, and is that your ability to be able to repair is almost as important as your ability to be able to build or fly.
I think it may actually, in some cases, be more important at various times. In your beginning area, you got to be able to repair it, or else you're just going to be spinning yourself crazy, or else you're just going to throw your hands up and walk away.
Yeah,
I think that. If you built the airplane, you knew how to fix it. That was the important thing.
Exactly. I think that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me say hi to Gary. Hey, Gary, thanks for coming in, Gary. And I received my calendar yesterday.
I got mine too.
You got yours too? All right.
I got mine 3.
You got yours? Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Looked really good. And thanks to Steve for paying for it. We appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Mark, did you get yours yet, Mark? Your calendar? Have you received yours?
I hadn't yet, but the horse and buggy out to the farm mail probably takes a little bit longer than normal. So yeah.
Well, it's coming. I'm glad I received mine. And
I understand. I understand the post office got their picture of the postman riding the horse from your guy.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. It usually takes just a couple, another day at least out here. Yeah. In the rural route, I guess if you want to call it that. So
Yeah.
Hey, John, what are you getting from Blick?
Oh, I was gonna get back into watercolors.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I see that.
You buying them Langnickel brushes?
Yeah, I bought one set of brushes, and I'm going to buy another. I'd really like to get a good solid set of sable, but there's guy. Oh, look at that.
How much you think's in that box?
Probably $200.
Oh, more than that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Each one of them brushes is $25.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we got
Wow.
these here.
Look at that. Whoops. There you go. Oh,
These
look
are
at
all,
that.
these are Kafka, and these over here are Mac. The Macs are cheaper. They're $15 a piece. But
Yeah.
all them brushes in this box are Kafka brushes.
Let me see them again, would you mind?
These here, the lettering quills.
Yeah. Oh man. Talk about fine points.
These are script liners. These are scrollers and striping. I got more striping brushes in my other box. But
Wow.
these are sign brushes here.
Yeah, yeah.
Quills.
The tools of the trade, I tell you. I was never
Very nice.
I shake too much to have done anything like you're doing. But I used to be able to do watercolors. We'll see if I can do them again.
Well, I was a striper 40 years ago, and I got so many airplanes here. I said, you know what? We need to figure out something that I can do that's not going to take up so much room, and and I can make some money on. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna get back to sign painting and striping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Well,
nice.
you got the skills that you might as well use it.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of paint would that be, Sparky?
One shot. I'll show you here in a second.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt you guys. Jack Snavely, he says, I would like to thank Gary Sinclair for the most excellent calendar. And he gave you
There you
two
go,
thumbs
Gary.
up.
You're the man of the hour, Gary.
I guess.
That's right.
Very good. Yeah.
I'm glad you appreciate it. I like to do it.
Good
So.
thing.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. It's awesome. Matter of fact, this is the last time we can show the January calendar. So
Here's the paint.
There's the paint.
Yeah, one shot.
Sign painters, one shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be there.
But they've taken the lead out of it, so it's not really one shot, it's two shot.
hey, Brendan and Astrom, thanks for coming in. I mean Angstrom, excuse me.
Hey,
thanks for coming in, you guys.
Hey, Brian.
How you doing, Brendan?
I feel kind of guilty, John. I'm from Blick. I got this from Kafka. This is the brush oil.
Yeah.
And this was $7.95 for this, right?
Right.
Well, I ordered from Blick, and this bottle here, I got two bottles, was $10.
Holy folks.
But on Kafka's site, it was 30. So I feel kind of guilty. I'm about calling Blick and saying, I think you guys got this mismarked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it might be the other way around. Kafka may have mismarked.
No.
No?
Let me shout out to Tryan. Hey, thanks for coming in, Tryan. Appreciate that. And then Tom Ramel in the chat box, he says, thank you, Gary Sinclair, for the calendar. I received it on Wednesday. So Brandon and Angstrom, you guys received your calendar yet?
No, I haven't seen this. So
Should be there Soon, very soon. I got
Okay.
mine yesterday.
All right. You got it. You all got an address for me? What calendar are we talking about?
Oh, these calendars. Maybe if we let me make myself big so I can show it to you. Maybe I don't
Hold it
know.
up a little closer, a little higher.
Okay, as I
All
make
right
myself
there.
big. There we go.
There you
So that's what it looks like.
It fits in a case for a disc for a CD.
Oh, okay.
Those
So this
clear.
is January, and we have them for each month. And next month I'll show who's coming up, and that's Mike Lonke and his family next month.
All right, cool. Hey,
Yes.
I don't know if you all saw, but Angstrom and I put a post on the building techniques.
Saw that. I
of
saw
Stunthanger.
that.
We intended to get to building our twister tonight, Fancherized twister, but we ran into a problem in our prep here that we didn't pre-cut the half ribs, the 1/16 half ribs.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to get those together to be able to, before we get building. But one question I have as we're making those, what direction do you take the balsa wood grain in making those? Or
Front to back.
Front to back.
Okay.
Now, something else too, you might want to think about. How thick are the wing ribs? Are those 1/8 inch?
That's what it looks like. The original kit, yeah, it looks like they're an 1/8 inch.
Well, what I did when I built mine, and I built mine right after the article came out, was I made like half ribs, but I made them like they were strip ribs for a I-beamer. So they were only like less than 1/4 inch thick, top to bottom, and they had the curve on it, and they connected at the leading edge, and they connected to the spar. I had a little dip in the back end, so it came in and you glued it under and matched everything up. All right.
Okay, so you're just talking about totally hollowing it out then.
Yeah, there's hardly any, in other words, instead of a half rib that's like half of the rib in there, it's got like a I-beam rib, a strip rib. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was easy to do. And it was probably as light, if not lighter, than going to the 16th. But now all your ribs matched all the way down, if that means anything at all. I kind of like the idea. I didn't want, have a thick rib and a narrow rib and a thick rib and a narrow, I wanted them all to be the same.
So you left it then 1/8 thick, just like the full ribs, but
right.
Down.
But they were a strip rib. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what a strip rib is?
Weight, the 1/8 inch.
Do you know what a strip rib is?
I do not, but I think I can, if I'm thinking correctly, I can fashion one right here. So actually what I did, I started already making the 1/16 and what happened though, is I did it with the W2 one, which those are the ones in the middle that have the sheeting over the top of. So I accidentally made them too small already. So now I have to make them based off the one. But let me, since this is now worthless, let me do what I think you're telling me to do.
Hey, Philip, thanks for coming in.
Almost something like that, right?
No, you go all the way to the nose, right to the fish mouth. And it's separate. I mean, you can do it that way, but the way I did it was all the way. It's a full strip rib.
Since I was dealing with 1/16s, it hollowed out, but
yeah, you could do it that way if you wanted to, but it's, I don't have a piece of paper here that I could use, or do I? Maybe I could do something.
You basically would have a little top section and a bottom section and nothing in between.
Aha.
Good explanation.
And Sparky has a video when he did I forgot which plane it was, but he shows the jig and he just cut out all these strip ribs really quickly. I'm not sure which. I don't remember plane that was, Sparky.
Okay.
Aries.
The Aries.
Yeah.
If you go to the Stunthanger YouTube channel, look at his Aries, and you can see him making all the strip ribs. He made a jig, so they're all come out the same. And then he would just shorten them or to get the right length. So he would kind of make it over length, and then he would just cut it to the right length.
So then if we're doing it that way, rather than me, us taking all this time trying to figure out what we do to get those in or get these in here tonight and get these built, we could actually go ahead and start building the wing with the full ribs we got, and those
Exactly.
to be put in kind of after.
Yeah, you could.
Hey, John's got it now.
You could cut the material away. Let me move to you, John. 1 second. Let me change you the spotlight out and put it on you, John. Just a second. Okay, and now, John, where are you at? Oh, there you are. Hang on. All right, there you go, John. You're full screen.
Where I've got the shade again, that's your new rib.
I got you.
And that piece in the front is your leading edge, and the square in the back is your spar.
Yep, I got you.
All right.
Yeah, that's
a picture's worth 1,000 words. Thank you, John.
Yeah, that'll be really good. So yeah, that means we can jig this thing up and get the full ribs going.
Exactly. Yeah, because you put the half ribs in after you got the wing built. I mean,
and so if we do the strip ribs like that again, does that change what we should be thinking about the grain on this thing? Like,
nope, the grain still goes fore and aft.
Okay, the grain is running, the full length of that rib, or trying to.
Right. In fact, if you want to, you can tilt when you cut it, you can tilt it a little bit on the sheet so you get the grain following most of the curved section, but it still runs from front to back. But going the grain like that is where you get your strength in that rib.
Okay. The only other thing is someone was on here before and had like an assembly jig, a laser cut assembly jig. They were kind of showing us and whatnot, and I bought it. I got some of these parts. Those are
cool.
Squared, and then I got these. So I was thinking that as we're jigging this thing up, I would assume these are intended to go up the rib to keep them 90.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Because the assembly is as nice as it looks and whatnot, has no real instructions on what I'm doing with it. So yes, I've got it. It's nice, but again, as a novice builder, everything I have.
Yeah, I don't think they were actually looking at a beginner like yourself. I mean, yeah, you built several models, but you're still a beginner.
Yeah, in my models, as I've said on most of this, has been foam. So that hasn't. I mean, it's gotten me, some sense of what I'm doing as I'm getting here, but this is a completely different animal.
On the front end of on the front end of that franchise twister, you can do one or two things. You can use the doublers that came with it, the plywood doublers. Are they 1/8 inch thick?
I'm not sure what came with it in the box.
Well, if they're 1/8 inch thick, you could, because you're going to put a tripler on there anyway, you could actually go down to 32nd, or not 32nd, 16th. 16th.
Dollars directed to the sellers, and they accepted immediately.
Shut off the TV.
Everybody's got their TV.
Have a TV on, Lynn.
All right, hang on.
I'll mute you in the meantime.
And you were talking. And you were talking about the doubler on the nose.
Yeah, you could go to 16th, which saves about half the weight because you're going to put a tripler on the inboard side.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what we try to go with because we're electric, and I got to find a way somewhere to try to hide this battery, and we got a pretty big battery, so
yeah.
I might in setting it in there. I'm just not sure where I'm putting it at this moment.
Even more so, if you're going electric, you can cut down on that doubler, get rid of some of that weight.
Yeah,
and you will most likely have a tripler on the inside to help hold and support that battery.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll be plenty strong. That's what I was trying to say. Plenty strong enough in the nose, you know. And as far, I would add an inch to the ends of the stab and elevator. Make them 2 inches longer. Just make it better.
Okay.
Won't hurt it.
Is somebody gonna jump all over us? This was the other piece. Not only were we trying to prepare this as our Nats plane, but as a good plane for nostalgia. So
well,
if we start getting away and adding an inch, you know, to the stab or things like that, are people then going to jump all over us that we've got?
I don't think it's nostalgia legal to begin with.
That's what I was going to say. It was designed. It was designed in the late 80s, and I think nostalgia.
In 87. So yeah, we're over 30 years. It's 33 years.
Well, I don't think they'll bother you.
But 35.
That's called super. Super sick, or what the hell was that?
Super 70s.
That's it. Yeah, but that doesn't qualify for that either. Classic is up to what year?
60. December 69.
Yeah, he said nostalgia 30 though.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine with that. And listen, most franchise twisters did have the stab and elevator. I'd say at least half of them had the stab and elevator elongated because people realized right off the bat that it would perform better with a little more area in the stab and elevator.
Okay.
I think if you're building the franchise kit and you have those plans, it may already be in there. You know,
that might be true. Yeah, I don't remember exactly offhand what the standard twister stab and elevator span is.
So
it's the standard stab and elevator on a twister. I think it's 14, but I'll go down and check. Hang on.
Okay, this is going to be good to know because you know.
Well, I know when I built my Stinger, which came out, I had it flying before the franchise twister was published. In fact, Bob Hunt had it in his hands at Hobby Park before the franchise twister was published. But I extended the tail on it even longer than the franchise twister, and it also has elongated tail. It seems like I did add 1 inch to each side, but I made mine very curvy, where his is all angles, mine's all curves, and it was easy to hide the extra inch in the curves.
How long has the kit you've got? How long is the fuselage from the hinge to hinge?
I haven't measured. I don't know.
Yeah. What about you, Everett? Brendan?
What's that?
What's the length between the flap hinge line and the elevator hinge line?
14 inches, I bet.
You know what? I'm not seeing that directly.
Because in the article, I think he said 2 to 3 inches extended.
Here it is. I need a ruler.
Yeah, I went 2 7/8 on mine. It's 17 3/8 is what my tail moment is.
Yeah.
All right,
long.
It
was a long fella.
Hinge to hinge, is that what you said?
Hinge to hinge. Yeah.
Yeah.
flap hinge to elevator hinge.
Yeah, I don't really know my way around plans a lot, but if I read this correctly, it looks like it's just over 15 and a half.
That's from the flap where the end of the buildup wing, where the flap begins,
yep,
to where the elevator begins.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Elevator hinge line.
Right on the hinge joints. Yeah, it says on this plan, the way I see this fuselage laid out, it's like 15 and 5/8.
Boy, that's not as extended as I remember mine.
Yeah.
I think mine came out closer to what yours was, Phil, about 17 inches.
Yeah, mine's 17 3/8, and it flew beautifully. It still flies. I think it would still fly beautiful. I'm just scared of that 30-year-old monocoque.
Yeah. What is the fuselage all cut out for you?
No, I haven't even played with it yet. Yeah, we just started looking into the wing part first.
Well, I would consider, think about it, going to at least 17 inches hinge to hinge.
It sure takes a lot of the hunt out of it.
So,
and Brandon, when you're at it, you might also want to think about modifying that your box for your battery to make it an inside loader.
Yeah.
Make it load from the inside instead of the outside. Because if you got the centrifugal force working with you, you can always push the center of the fuselage. You can always push the center of that box through more to the outside. But if you got that sucker on the inside, it's weight. I mean, you're gonna have to counterbalance that with tip weight. But if you slide it all the way through and have it open on the inside of the circle, then centrifugal force is keeping your battery in. I've already had a nasty experience with the battery coming out of a plane, and you don't want it.
But yeah, I think I told y'all one that came off and hit me dead in the chest. Angstrom was flying and hit me dead in the chest. Thankfully, it wasn't my teeth.
Yeah, that does nasty things to your airplane when you lose all your nose weight. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Again, I'll go back to this one more time. Like, I mean, I'm sure there are those people who will get out a ruler and absolutely
they won't.
No, they aren't going to do that to you.
But from a nostalgia 30 side of things, nobody's going to get bent out of shape over it being 17 versus the plans you're saying 15 and a half.
Well, have you got a copy of the article that Ted wrote?
I do. I got it somewhere.
See if you can find that and read it. And you find he's pretty loose. And then if you find articles from people or postings on the forums, you'll find that the guys have played with the length of the fuselage, with the length of the stab and elevators and all that kind of. They've been added wing tips instead of the flat ones. That's very common with the fan-trized twister. Some people even have gone and changed the outline of the fuselage to make it into something else, like, say, for instance, a P-51 Mustang.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about if I'm looking at our battery situation and our setup? What if I don't have enough nose to stuff the battery in there?
Then lengthen the nose.
So again, that's not going to be anything people will jump us over.
No, that's a trim situation.
Okay.
Am I right on that, Parky?
What'd you say?
He said, what if he doesn't have enough room on the nose to get the battery in? And I told him to extend the nose. And he said, will anybody get on it? And I said, no, that's a trim situation.
Yeah, they're not going to say nothing anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, my plan here is at least to get half a wing built this evening. And so
go for it. I'll shut up.
This one's itching to get going. So that's probably what we'll do is get this thing jigged up and at least get a little glue on.
There's so much cheating going on. Nobody's going to say anything about that anyway.
And that really isn't, in my opinion, isn't cheating.
No.
All right. Well, thanks for all the advice on the front end here. And that's our plan. Our plan is to do this hopefully every Friday and get him down here and work on this where we can,
so you can get BOM for his flight.
You know what the fan-trized twister was anyway, don't you? It was a kit bashed twister. So if you bash it a little bit more one way or another, who's to argue? I mean, seriously. Because Ted said in his article that they played with that tail moment and had it longer and shorter and played with different tail moments. He built more than one of those things, I have a feeling, because the way he talked about it, when I talked to him at the Nats, it sounded like they played with that thing quite a bit. And, an earlier one or a later one, who the heck knows? Just build it and enjoy it. But I'll tell you this, if you lengthen the tail moment, definitely make your elevator bigger or it will look funny.
Yeah. And you're going to find it's really a good flying airplane.
A stock twister. I've been beat by a stock twister before. John Garrett.
That was a fellow.
Oh, well, good grief. Look who you flew against. John Garrett was flying a brick. He's like
Hey,
Tom Looper.
Let me ask one more piece here. These half ribs putting in, what is the intended the intended result of putting those half ribs in there? What was the intent?
That
what
gives you
your airfoil
per entry on the airfoil. It's because you got your curving is going to sag down between them. So only where the ribs are do you have the true airfoil. By putting the half ribs in there, you support it there, and it gives you a truer entry.
I gotcha. Yep.
Now you don't have to remember this, that you can use a long sanding block and sand all those in to where they get the same height.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're a little ragged on the top, it doesn't matter because you're going to sand them in.
I gotcha. All right. Well, we're gonna get building.
All right. Well, we'll all be here to help you out.
All right.
Yeah, that's a fun airplane to build, but it's a really fun airplane to fly. I flew mine.
Easy to build.
Huh?
And it's so easy to build.
Yeah, it is easy to build. I really enjoyed mine, but I had built and rebuilt a twister so many times that I was gluing the same glue joint so many times. I just wondered if it was ever going to stick together. So I finally broke down and just bought a piece of wood and built a new fuselage. And then the ribs are so simple. I literally took the old airplane and stood it up over a piece of paper and traced the airfoil, and then found the plans and made sure it was right, and made all my ribs. But mine, instead of having the half ribs, I use turbolator spars. But my new one has the half ribs, but I'm still thinking awful hard about putting turbolator spars in. If anybody argues with me about the legality of it, I'll just show them my twister from the 70s and from 1987, and they can argue with that because I still have the airplane, and there's a lot of guys around here that remember it. It literally got retired because when I pull out of a dive or something, it would look like the wings were starting to flap. So I said, well, it's time to either recover it or retire it. And since it's got over 1,000 flights, it's got more flights than anything I've ever had. I just hung it on the wall. It's been hanging down there for 30 years now, nearly 30 years.
You know,
I flew it for 4 or 5 years. My first contest in Atlanta, I flew it, and I flew it for 4 years after that. And it finally just got to where I'd worn out about 4 FP40s on it. And it was time to hang that one up.
You know, Phil, I became a fan of turbolator spars back when I flew Excalibur. That wing is relatively sharp pointed and funny.
Oh God, it's a point.
Yeah, well, you can
the original
that up a little bit, yeah. But
the second one's blunt, but the first one's very sharp, and it had turbolators. That's where I got the idea.
Right, and that plane flew better than it should. I mean, it was really a good flying airplane. So I've thought about doing a twister type airplane with turbolator spars. I think that would be,
my new one's going to have it. It'll have the half ribs, but it's going to have the turbolator. It just, when I went out, this was at a time when I was going back to stunt. I've been flying sailplanes for several years, and we had the largest sailplane contest on the East Coast, the largest sailplane club, most active on the East Coast. Now I still argue that Florida was as bigger than us, but they weren't as active. But anyway, I'd flown sailplanes for about 5 or 6 years, and Tom called me up one day and he says, "Hey, you got anything that goes round and round?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Let's go make the air smell funny." Well, all I had was that old twister that had been put back together a dozen times. So I picked it up and we went out to the field and flew it. And that plane always hunted. It always hunted. And it always irked me. So I said, well, now how can I get rid of hunt? And the easiest way to get rid of it that I could think of, I just read that article on things that always work.
Yep.
So I built a new twister, and I extended the tail to 17 3/8 inches. And I put a little bit of up in the tail, and I tilted the engine down 30 seconds or so, just enough down to where I knew it wasn't up. And I put more in them nowadays, but this was my first foray into this. And that's the best flying airplane I had ever had my hands on.
Yeah.
But like I say, I about wore the darn thing out. It was thankfully painted in epoxy, because I don't think dope would have ever held up as much fuel's been through that thing.
You know, there's an interesting discussion, Phil, on I think the building forum on the main forum.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas I think Mark, what's the guy Mark's last name? Anyway, he's the guy that's been doing all the videos with the camera on his wing and all of that.
Oh yeah.
And has good command, better command of meth than I do. Anyway, in that one building posting, they talked about the benefits, and I think Brett Buck was involved in it too, of down thrust and a tiny bit of up thrust on the stab, or positive instance on the stab. And you know that I've done that ever since I read that same article. And I have to tell you, every airplane that I've put in the air since I started doing that has not hunted.
Well, that's been my experience. They stay where they're supposed to. They don't hunt. Everything seems to work, and I just like the fact that it's one of those things. It does always work. You just don't have to worry about it. You don't have to mess with it.
I'd love to get a copy of that article and see if Sparky would pin it somewhere on the forum.
If somebody can find it, I'd love to have a copy of it too. I've either misplaced mine or loaned it out and forgot to get it back. But I've done that with so much stuff. I went downstairs the other night, and I used to have 7 sets of plans to the you name it. I think I've got 1 set left where I've loaned them out and never got them back. But I bought a bunch of them when AMA or Model Airplane News was selling out, and they were offering them for 14 cents a piece. And I think I ordered 6 sets or 8 sets or something like that. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
It's been a few years. But the first set of plans I bought in 1968, the plane is the Demon Delta. I've never built it, but I'm going to build one before I die. I want to build a Demon Delta. It won't stunt for nothing, but it's the first set of plans I bought, and I want to build it. But one of these days I will. But I've got a lot of old plans like that. I started to build a chipmunk from plans, and I bought somebody bought me a chipmunk kit for my birthday one year. And I got looking at the difference between the CL5 chipmunk and Model Airplane News' plans. Oh boy, I'm glad I didn't build it by the plans. They were so screwed up. But a lot of those old plans, the guy that did a lot of that drafting back in those days, didn't know beans about models. I mean, the guy, I looked for years for a set of plans to the stunt machine, and I got it, and I got looking at it, and I thought, did the guy that drew this ever fly a model airplane? Because he's got a clockwise tank and a counterclockwise airplane, a counterclockwise tank and a clockwise airplane. That wouldn't feed at all. I mean, that wouldn't work at all.
Well, several other things you're talking about, and he did a lot of plans. He was a good guy.
He was a great guy, but but a lot of those plans, I talked to Bob Hunt, and he said the wing is completely wrong. Several things about it were completely wrong. And I said, well, I just gave the plans away because I said, if I ever get around to building a stunt machine, I want Gene Schaefer's stunt machine, not something that sort of kind of looks like it. I see no point in building something that sort of kind of looks like it. I mean, what's the difference in building one that sort of kind of looks like it because your plans are screwed up, and just outright cheating to build something? It's not the real airplane. And
that's true.
I mean, so what's the difference? I mean, they won't let you fly it if you did something that enhanced the performance or enhanced the way it was built. You did something to enhance the build, like it's supposed to have a sharp leading edge and you round the crap out of it. That's illegal.
Yeah.
I've had to be the one.
Phil, let me interrupt you, Phil. I'm so sorry.
That's
I've been waiting to try to get a word in. And I don't know if anybody else has been waiting to get a word in also. But let me catch up on the chat. Alexander III, he says, hi, Charles, Big John, and all on here. Hope all is well. Greetings from Scotland. Thank you very much, Alexander III. And I didn't get a chance to say hi to to you, Lynn. Thanks for coming in, Lynn.
Hey, Charles.
And Dennis Adamison, thank you for coming in.
Gentlemen.
Appreciate that very much. I hope I've greeted everybody. But anyways, we
got a
only have a,
question.
hang on one second, let me continue. We have 12 likes and 18 concurrent viewers. We probably have had more, but please hit the like button. We don't have any chat revenue for this year, I think. So please consider donating. And also our YouTube memberships, they start at $4.99 a month. I mean, you can spend that on a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So please consider joining the YouTube channel. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel as well as the memberships. And don't forget the super chats and support this thing. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys carry on.
Charles, can I just say one thing?
Go for it, Lynn.
That twister tail, I don't know if you guys got the measurements already, but standard twister is 18-inch span, the tail, and the fanterized twister is 21.
So you put an inch and a half on each end.
Inch and a half, yep.
Okay. You hear that, Brendan?
Now we have 30.
No, he's working on something else there.
Yeah, I
There's someone talking in the background. I don't know who I'm hearing.
That's Brendan. That's Brendan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
No problem, Brendan.
What you also say about the
Brendan, we found out the stab. Well, let Lynn tell him.
The stab on the twister is, the standard stab is 18. The fanterized is 21.
Okay. I'm gonna write that in my notes. Standard stab is 18, you said.
Yeah.
And then 21 is the
Yep.
fanterized.
Yep.
Okay. And that's where we were trending anyway to add more on that. So
if you're gonna do that stab and if you're gonna build that stab and you're gonna do it out of the standard size material, be sure and put, the most of the grain runs end to end. Be sure and put some end grain into that stab going the other way. It will sure keep it from cupping and warping.
Yes, it has a little piece glued on the end of each end. It's about a half-inch wide going the opposite direction.
Be sure and do that, because otherwise they cup real bad. They will warp and cup and do all kinds of funny things.
Yeah, I don't see that on the design. Oh, actually it does. Yeah, it shows that
on there. Yep.
Well, don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't forget to do that, because that's one of those things.
I think it's 1/4 inch as well on the fanterized one, not 3/16, but I could be wrong.
I can't remember. I know it seemed the original twister, it was thin, but
yeah, it was 3/16. The original twister's 3/16. But I'd have to go down and check again.
Ted liked thicker stabs, and it's not for fun and games. It's for safety.
I'm going to go check again. I've got the plan down there. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
I tend toward at least quarter inch.
I do too, but I built one here recently, a Zilch X, and I used 1/4 inch, and the guys are raising all kinds of foolery at me because the plans show it as 1/8 inch. And I said, well, I don't know whose plans these are, but so Tom got a set of plans from Walt, and I think they show 3/16 or 1/4. And now they finally backed off on it. They're going to go ahead and, not raise so much sand about it, I think. But everybody was still wanting to argue with us about it being not a legal design. And then Keith Trossel sent Tom, I think it was Keith. No, wait a minute. It was Charlie Reeves. Got a note from Keith Trossel and sent Tom a copy of it. And it says that plane was flown in competition in 1951, which makes it legal. So they have pictures of it in flight in a contest with, I forgot his name, but anyway, the guy designed it flying it, and that makes it legal. So
what airplane's that?
Zilch X. Not the expendable, the Zilch X. The expendable was a combat plane. We had a guy show up and try to fly an expendable. The expendable is not the same airplane.
I just heard you talking about an Excalibur and Dick Matthews.
Oh yeah. We did. We talked about that a few minutes ago. There was 2 versions of that. Most people only remember one of them, but the first one had a very sharp leading edge, and the second one was very rounded leading edge, and the second one flies much better. I've built both.
I don't think so, Phil.
You like the first one better?
I like the first one better. All I had to do was take that little thin thing they had there on the leading edge, and instead of leaving it go to a point, I just rounded it within.
Well, if you rounded it a little bit,
and that thing flew awesome. The problem with the Excalibur 2 is that it not only has a more rounded leading edge, but it has a sheeted leading edge as well.
Yeah, it does. I didn't like that as well.
It is not classic legal.
No, it is not.
Let me ask the progression here. Do we start with the I can't even think what that word is. The spar. Is that what we start with first on this? Have you
got what do you got for a jig?
I got a Brodak jig. You see it there?
Okay, yeah. So it's got the rods, is what it's got, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you got them laid out. Go underneath and bring the bottom spar up and try to get it to snap into the groove. And then do the same on the top, or you can do the top first and the bottom second. Either way, but yes, I'd go. And then the next thing to go on would be the leading edge. You got the leading edge on there, don't you?
I do not have the leading edge yet. No.
Okay, it's hard to see.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Just remember the cardinal rule of building a wing. If you have to force it, back off, sand, and then try it again. Don't force it.
There you go. Don't force it, cause a warp.
You'll have a warp to beat the band. There's no way around it.
Okay, yeah, so the way to start it though would be put a spar up top, glue it in, put a spar on bottom, glue it in, or
yeah, just tack it in first, and while you're getting them in, get them in place. Tack on the root and the tip, maybe in the middle, just to hold it in place, and do the same thing with the bottom. You get them in there and then make sure you got them up in the hole that they're supposed to be in, and then glue them.
Okay.
If you got any questions, get your ruler off the table and check up to the point at the back of that rib. The back, where it comes to a point back here.
Yeah.
Those are so pointy, it makes it pretty easy to find a place to check it. But anyway, just check that, make sure those are all equal, and then pick one of the points on the front of the rib and check that off the table. And if they're still in line, you're in business.
Okay.
But just don't force anything. Just lay it in there, and if it doesn't lay in place, figure out why it does not.
Lynn's got his hand up.
I got those numbers for him.
Okay.
The thickness of the stab and elevator, everything is 1/4 inch. Okay.
Good. That's good.
And the elevator at the tip is 2 1/8 inches wide. The stab at the tip is 2 1/4 inches wide. Can you write these things down?
Sorry.
Brendan, write these down.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Sorry.
All right, so the stab tip is 2 1/4 inches wide. The elevator tip is 2 1/8.
Those are 3 inches at the root?
At the root, everything is 3 inches. The root, the elevator is 3 inches, and the stab is 3 inches.
Okay.
And of course, at the tip, there's a 1/2 inch of tip on each end going the opposite grain.
I gotcha.
1/2 inch wide. Okay.
Might as well talk about the flaps while he's got that wing starting up.
John, you're killing me.
You can stay put. Now you can stay put for a while, Lynn. Hang on a second.
Oh, Lynn.
I have a question, you guys. I have a question.
Yeah, they're 1/4 inch and they're wider. I think they're 3 inches wide at the root.
I have a question. I want to clarify something. Hey, Brendan, earlier when you was asking, what do you do after you get all the ribs in? Is that what you was asking?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think there was a miscommunication. I think you want to sheet the trailing edge, the bottom or the top, and then after you do that, then you do the leading edge, and then you put the spars in.
Okay.
I mean, everybody does it differently, but I think you'd want to lock in the trailing edge, top and bottom, and then lock in your leading edge, and then you do your spars. I mean, somebody might want to chime in. They might have a different way of doing it. I want to make sure that he's not led astray and led in the wrong direction.
Yep.
I've done it both ways, and it works both ways. As long as you remember the cardinal rule, if you got to force it, back off and sand something. Never force nothing building a wing. Once you got in spar, especially. I mean, the jig, especially when you're jigging, and that ruler's your friend. Be sure and check off that table a bunch of times to the centers, and make sure everything is still straight. Because you get one place you got to push something, you got to press that thing a little harder, and you're going to have a warped wing. You're going to have a warp in your wing, and it may not show too much right now, but down the line you'll notice it. It'll fly funny, and you'll wonder, why does it do that there? Because there's a warp in that wing. But just like I say, the cardinal rule building a wing: never force anything.
Brendan, you're getting good advice. I agree with it. Either way, people do it either way, and some even have another way. We won't even go there.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you just recommended, Charles, was start with the sheathing on the back edge of the rim.
Lock in the trailing edge. Yeah. So top and bottom, you have to sheath the top and bottom. Doesn't matter which way, but you want to lock those ribs in kind of at a time. Okay. I was going to say also make a go no go gauge. In other words, a piece of wood that's a certain height, and maybe mark it go no go gauge, and you use that all the time to make sure that the whole wing is at the same height. So it's like a specified height. You might even highlight it, and you just always, from time to time, make sure that wing is that same height all around, from front to back. And it might be kind of late, but some people actually will put a line down their ribs from the leading edge to the back, and make sure that line is at that no go gauge height the whole time. And whenever you find a problem, you got to figure out, whoops, what moved, what changed, because sometimes the moisture or different things will make the thing move on, and you want to figure out what's going on. And so go no go gauge. And I want to chime in. I have a friend, my flying buddy, Joe Mata. He's in the chat. He says, "Hi all, and thank you, Gary, for the nice calendar. Got it today. Fantastic, Joe."
That is a nice calendar.
And Joe, you're building a fancherized twister, so I hope that conversation we're having about Brendan's fancherized twister is helpful. They mentioned the span of the stab. I didn't check your span, so verify the span of your stab is what Lynn said earlier. I know you've
got the flap size too.
All right, cool.
The flap size is standard. The only difference on the fancherized twister plan is it says you can make it out of the 3/16 or you can make it out of 1/4 inch.
Quarter's better.
Yeah, quarter is definitely better if you can get a straight quarter that isn't too heavy.
I see you, John. John wants to say something.
Go ahead, John.
But back to what Charles was talking about this, using the trailing edge sheeting first. Some guys will go to their scrap pile and they'll cut little vertical standards, all a certain length. And then you can take that ruler that Phil was talking about, and you can go from station to say your rib to rib, measure the height that's supposed to be. You're putting that, this is before you glue the bottom sheeting on the trailing edge. Set it in there and get it set to where it's at the proper height. Make sure, and you can do it at every station going down. Set them all at the proper height, and then glue the trailing edge sheeting on, and you don't glue it to the standards. They're there just to maintain the height. When you put the top on, if everything is correct, you should have a very straight trailing edge. If your trailing edge is really straight, your leading edge will be really straight.
Okay.
If you want to go that way. Otherwise, it's your choice. What we're giving you, we're really going to build a super stunner out of that fancher twister. I mean, we're trying to teach you how to really build really accurately, but that's what you want in the long run.
That's what I want, and that's where locally I don't have anybody looking over my shoulder, so that's why I need 10 guys on here looking over our right now.
Yeah.
You may just start.
My stuff that isn't, perfectly squared and, wonderful that I've built. So, I'm glad to finally be getting something together that maybe will be spot on.
Well, we hope so.
When you get that plane built, you're going to wonder. You look at that thing and you think it's got a straight, constant chord wing. There's nothing about it that's fancy. There's nothing about a twister that's fancy. Fancerized, the stinger, none of them.
Yeah.
Huh?
Or not. They're very simple to build, truly. Yeah.
Well, that's it. They're simple to build. They're easy. They're straightforward. And you go to the contest and you see somebody with a Belchfire 76 powered whiz bang, the newest, latest, greatest. And then you see him fly that thing. And then you see some little old dude that ain't got, they just hadn't had the time or the money to build whiz bang 40 with a Belchfire in it. Take a little twister with a FP40 and just eclipse everybody else's scores. That is a little airplane that will really, it's the little tug that could. It's a fantastic little it's a very underrated little airplane.
Most definitely.
No, I don't think it's underrated at all. I mean, I flew the Twister and I loved it.
Yeah, but most people see a Twister and think, it's a profile. Phooey.
It's a beginner's plane,
Yeah, it's a waste of time. That's for beginners. That's true. You're right, John.
Yeah, but you got to think about something. Fancerized Twister, Ted had already won the Nationals twice when he designed that thing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
There was a guy in the Midwest when I was out there that took a standard twister, went from beginner all the way up to expert with that same twister. I can't remember his name. I think you might have mentioned it, but I've been gone too long to remember his name. But he could fly that sucker and make it talk.
I've seen guys do that too.
Let me interrupt again. Alexander III, he says, hi, the Twister, is the wing longer by one rib also?
No. It's equal panel.
Then he has a totally different question is, the best way to store balsa, vertical or horizontal? Thanks.
They say horizontal is.
I do
if it's a flat surface, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to make sure it's a flat surface.
That's right.
And one other criticism I have is, Dennis, you're talking too much.
Yeah, Dennis, come on.
You please stop talking. I mean,
Dennis, you're killing.
We kind of get a word in edgewise, Dennis.
Yeah, he needs to shut up once in a while.
Well, I know I tried showing this earlier. It's that time of year again, guys, and I was.
Oh no, Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, Girl Scout.
He's into the cookies. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Girl, thank God for granddaughters who are Girl Scouts. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure you bought that stuff. You probably robbed the Girl Scout from the street and took her
That's
cookies.
Well, let's see.
Just reminded me, I gotta go put my pizza in.
Did your granddaughter charge you wholesale or retail?
Wholesale,
Yes.
of course.
Well, I guess it is, not wholesale, but the wholesale. They told her she's 6 years old.
All right.
They told her she's got to sell 100 boxes.
Wow.
Holy
Lord.
Well, she's going to be a good saleswoman when she gets done.
So how many did Grandpa buy? 89?
Hey, I got my traditional 4 boxes of Thin Mints. That's as far as I'll go.
4 boxes?
Yeah.
Wow. You can only handle so many calories.
Well, that's it. If the calories won't get me, the sugar and the carbs will, that'll definitely. Let's just say it's going to be a bad week or for blood sugars, and let it go at that. So.
Yeah.
That's
Man,
hilarious.
I remember those days. My granddaughter's 21 now, but 22. But I was so glad when she got out of Girl Scouts because I didn't have to eat any more cookies. Oh, I love them, but come on.
Well, that's it. So, and Charles, I'll try not to talk so much. So,
hey, Charles.
I did have one question for Gary Sinclair. He's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
I saw your address, Marietta, Ohio. Is there any chance you knew Steve Woolley?
I did. I flew with him. Yep. He's in our club. Yep. That's what got me on here, I think, because I know someone stunt flies. So
That's terrific.
Yes,
That's terrific.
I'd like to talk to that Bill Worridge.
Uh-huh.
I just like to be able to see him and talk to him about it too.
I tell you what, you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to Billy, you can learn a lot quick. Just be sure and listen and take notes.
All I know is that Steve Woolley drove a Ferrari. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. That made him, I was like 10, 12 years old. Steve Woolley was the coolest man in the entire universe. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he could just happen to fly, and he was a pretty good race car driver. Unfortunately, that's how he lost his life. But he was just really a phenomenal person all around. So, okay, but that's just terrific to hear that you knew him way back when and everything like that. Because he's one of those special people who he's there from an era and stuff like that. He's one of the pioneers, frankly, of the entire USA FA, international teams and everything like that. He was one of the people who helped get us over there in the first place, and which I didn't realize till much later on. How instrumental he was in that. And there's just one of those people. I guess the international trophy is the Steve Woolley Cup, but it's not the. Just one of those guys that everybody knows the Cobra and the Argus and everything like that. But it's just I remember those things flying at Rouge Park in Detroit.
Wow, that's awesome.
I watched the damn thing. So
that's awesome.
I held it in my hands.
You held the Argus in your hands.
That's it. Not very long. Not for very long.
Not very long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But, did you ever build one of those planes, Argus, or never built, or a Cobra?
I built a modified Cobra, but not an Argus. But
I'd love to build an Argus.
I built an Argus.
You did get pictures of it, Gary?
What's that?
Yeah, pictures of your Argus.
There's on my calendar there. I don't know, a year ago or a couple of years ago. I think I needed some planes to put on, so I put them on.
Oh, very cool. I have to check it out.
Yeah, but I remember Steve went to King Orange in Florida, and he had a Studebaker, and they had a picture of the speedometer clear out of sight, going the other way. And I thought, wow, how would you drive that fast in them roads back in them days? But he had a picture of it.
Wow.
It was a little wild and crazy.
Yeah,
what got me about that is if you go to the Nationals now and go to the museum, you look at the Cobra and you see it's missing the canopy. But I have pictures of that plane where one of the gentlemen took it outside and laid it down outside for us. It had a red canopy on the original. And it did not, in the kit, it looks like it's shaped like this. It was shaped like this. And it came forward to a point. It came all the way forward to a point, and then it was a point that it went down. It was sharp. It looked like a bird's beak or something. And on the kits, all the kits show that thing round and has a round front on it. But I was talking to Bill Worridge, and he says, when you're ready for a canopy, get in touch with me. I have the original mold. I don't know if he still got it, because I don't know if he still has it, because Billy had to move out of his mom's house and all that stuff. But Bobby and Billy and I were talking at the Worlds when it was in Muncie, and he said, if you want to build that thing, get in touch with me, because I still have the original mold Steve pulled that canopy off of. And I was telling him, I remember it being red. I guess my memory not what it used to. Billy says, no, it was red. It was a green airplane, pond scum green airplane with a red canopy and burgundy and gold trim.
Pond scum.
That's what he called it, pond scum green.
It was a pretty spectacular color scheme, though.
It was gorgeous.
Look at.
Absolutely beautiful. There was no ink lines on that airplane. And your dad said when he brought the plane over to your dad's house, and your dad handed him a handful of sandpaper and told him to get downstairs and clean that plane up. I said, good grief.
That's where the term bottom dwelling pond scummer
Well, I'm telling you what.
Yeah, he framed that thing up. He was apparently working a contract in Detroit the one summer. He framed up the Cobra in our basement, so I got to see the thing. And I remember, yeah, the one occasion there, he's all set to start sanding and everything like that. And he's got some 180 or 220 or something like that. My dad handed him a block with some 60 grit on it, and he says, "Get to work on this thing. You got to shape it before you smooth it,
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God!
That sounds like your dad. He was.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Get it accurate. Get it all flat and smooth and continuous. Then then you make it. Then you fine sand the wood. So.
Your dad could tell you, look, dumb, and make you feel like you were getting complimented. He had a talent for that. He was something. I miss him. There's a lot of people in this hobby I miss, but your dad's top of the list. But I tell you, somebody else that surprised me with his car. Two other people have surprised me with their cars. When George Aldrich drove up in a Rolls Royce, that kind of surprised me. I did not expect that. And then when Scarenzi came to VSC with a brand new Cadillac, he takes a stick and puts it in the ground. It's got a tin can on it. Help a destitute modeler get home. Little sign.
I remember that. Did you notice that over at the Pancake House across from the hotel there, or the motel, he had all them waitresses running around for him. He had them all worked up.
What I feel the worst about, I put a quarter in the stupid can. I mean, he was just funny. I'm sitting there, that's Scarenzi's? Oh Lord, I've been had. But anyway, we had so much fun out there. First time I went, I took my wife with me, and I think she laughed more than I did. We had a ball.
What was the guy's name, the musician there that did the Stuka Stunt Blues? I remember his name.
Oh gosh, I remember who you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
The first time I ever met him, I was going to the contest at SIG, and I pull up and it's just getting late, and the sun's just going down. And I pull in, and he comes walking out. He's a big man, and he comes walking up to me. He says, "Hi, how are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing fine." He says, "Yeah, I was doing fine too until I lost all my money."
Oh Lord.
And I says, "What? How'd you lose all your money?" And he said, I loaned it to, oh damn, this is terrible. He said he loaned it to somebody anyway. He can't remember. Loaned it to a guy that wanted to get his plastic surgery, and now he can't find. Doesn't know what he looks like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, he showed up when he showed up at VSC. He brought a whole bunch of those Stuka Stunt Blues. That was the second time, and he got a room right across, and he built a ringmaster. Went down to the hobby shop there in Tucson, bought a ringmaster, and built it in his room to fly at the contest.
Oh,
I've seen this before. This game.
Wait a minute. The year I was out there, he built a Stuka, a John Steele Stuka, all black, monocoated it all in black, built it in 4 days, and flew the darn thing in the contest.
Well, that's what he did. That's what he did with that ringmaster. But he doped it. He doped it and he put it in the window, so the sun could shine on it, help dry it. And a year later, I wound up staying in that same room. You could still smell the dope in there.
I can believe that.
Tony Lang.
Yeah, that's him.
Tony Lang.
Yeah.
What a guy.
I'm telling you. Everybody thinks we do this for the models. It's the people.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
The people you meet, for crying out loud.
I'm like Cunningham. Cunningham always did it for the money and the women.
Money and the women. I'm still waiting on the money. Lord, I'm telling you.
So you got the women?
I got one. That's all I need.
Yeah, don't give me more than one.
I got one. That's all I need.
My wife always tells me I can't handle the one I got, so therefore you don't need any more.
Well, that's the truth in my case.
It's true.
That was a boost of confidence.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm not far from where I live. There's a couple of families that got about 14 kids and 2 or 3 wives. Just so this is Utah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that guy that was on TV that had
poor bugger.
He lived on a cul-de-sac. There's 5 houses in this cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
There's 5, and all 5 of them are his wives.
Yeah. That was up in Ogden, or not Ogden, Provo. No,
I wonder what the guy does. I don't know what the guy does for a living. My God, he'd have to make a fortune.
No, he doesn't. He's got 3 or 4 of his wives out working too.
Yeah, come on.
Well,
they do the work.
Let's get back to model aviation.
This is one kind of flying, my friend.
Get the puppet out, Charles.
Yeah, I know. I need to get that plane out here. It's nice. I got it dusted off. I'm ready now.
Dusted off. Okay, send her across the screen.
Big John.
Oh, here it goes.
Here we go.
There you go.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to try to make that soda bottle canopy. So I made a balsa mold, and I put some, just to cover it and protect it, have a smoother surface on the outside. I just put this monocoat on it.
Monocoat? Probably, right?
Are you going to use soda bottle?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I'm trying for the first time.
If you
I'm afraid that monocoat's going to do all kinds of things. You get quite a bit of heat there in some areas.
It's going to get awful hot.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah, exactly.
We'll try it. Sure.
It looks
I already played with a thinner bottle, and I just pulled this thing off just now.
Nice.
That looks nice.
Just to check the shape. How is the shape going to look like and stuff like this? So
is that off of that mold there?
Yeah.
Wow. Winner, chicken dinner.
I stand corrected.
Heck,
Look
that's
at that.
nice.
Wow.
That is nice, Tran.
Winner,
how did you
chicken
heat it up?
dinner.
Trying with the hair dryer or what?
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Oh, really? Okay.
Use it with your monocoat.
I got a heat gun here, so that's why it worked out. So
not friggin'
the
marvelous.
monocoat is built to take the heat. So anyway,
John.
So I've just been playing around to see how it's going to turn out. But did any of you do a soda bottle before? Do I have to fill in the space as much as possible, or has a pretty good shrink to it?
What I did, I've done a bunch of them. What I do is I put it tight, and then I put a piece vertically, to kind of stretch it down and around,
Oh, I get, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then get the heat gun to it. It seems to work better.
Okay, yeah. So stretch it out as as much stuff in there to get it to stay pretty tight, and then shrink it. Okay, I got it.
Joe Adamusco did an article on the Coke bottles, I think in Stunt News. I don't remember which article it was, but he did an article on it. He had a green, like a Sprite bottle or 7-Up.
Yeah, I'm thinking about making the green one, since my plane is going to be transparent violet, and it's going to be with the white and yellow trim.
Oh, that'd be pretty.
That sounds nice. Yeah, look up at the Joe Adamusco article. I think it's even on the cover of the magazine, if I'm not mistaken.
Joe and I talked about that at Brodak, and he said if you try to make the canopy and then stain it, the sun will bleach the color out of the canopy. But if you use a soda bottle that's already stained, it works.
Right.
Okay.
So the green is, there are no red ones. I haven't seen a yellow one. I haven't seen a red one. But there's plenty of greens, and they work great and they look great. My ombre canopy is made that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing. The original Vector canopy is so pointy like this in here.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not really usable. Like, you have to cut it to about here to get it to lay down a little bit. But it's so tight. I mean, you're gonna have to. I mean, you end up with some like this, and just it goes like that in the front. And I really hate this shape, you know. I like the front to go like this, you know, just normal instead of going like that.
Right.
And then wrap around. So you know, just a matter of taste and stuff like that, personal taste. And I'm still waiting for some moldage to show up any day, probably Monday or so. And as soon as I'm gonna make those replacement flaps, and as soon as I do replace the flaps in the elevator, I can lock in the push rod on between them to make sure everything is dead center, and twist them, whatever I have to do to get it perfect. And after that, I'm gonna adjust the push rod, and I can lock in the top of the canopy. Other than that, it's just that the plane is done.
Very good.
That looks good.
Awesome.
And everything worked out nicely. I mean, just I have the battery. It's going to be mounted from the side of the nose. So that was nice. I think making a cover that covers your landing gear and extending it front to back, maybe 2 inches, you know, even 2 inches, roughly an inch and a half, 2 inches from front to back. That was very beneficial because now I have access to the accelerometer, which is underneath the wing, is right there where the cover is. You can run the wires around in the front of the wing over there where you have very little access otherwise. But right now with the cover, you have very nice access everywhere. I think that's a nice plus. You might want to consider doing that, you know, for a electric model anyways. The airflow is beautiful over there. No interruptions, none of that stuff. What else did I do? Yeah, the motor is front mounted. That's, you know, it's the things that I like to do. And that's, you know, that's about all I did. I mean, I think I show you the cover on the bottom.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yep, you did.
Yeah, it's all neat.
Oh, here comes the Red Baron pizza.
Oh,
Very nice.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, as long as it's model aviation.
Yeah, there you go.
That's an airplane
Thanks, John.
pizza.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I got a thing for Brendan.
Okay.
Let's go.
Hey,
Let's
Brendan.
go, Brendan.
I don't know if you've used that jig kit before, you know, and just in my experience, be really diligent if you're using thin CA. Be real diligent if you have any drops or think you've dropped anything anywhere on those rods, because when you pull the rods out, you'll pull center of your ribs out with it. And I actually used a little bit of a.
What you got there, Angstrom?
Soap. We put
soap. Okay, so you soap the rods.
Soap the rod. Yeah, that or wax or whatever. But the thin CA thing too. If it doesn't, soap helps it not stick to it. But when you first pull the rods out, if you hadn't used them before, maybe you have. Yeah. But when you first make that first little 1/4 inch, when you're pulling the rods out and you're twisting it, just listen, so you don't hear any. Yeah, because if you don't hear the click and you pull, it's you'll at least pull the rib out that is stuck to. It's my experience because I did it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Brenda, are you using any tips on that thin CA bottle?
Yes. Yeah, we got a.
That works. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
Capillary tip.
Let me see. No, this still kind of thick. Anyways, I have some tips that are capillary. That are very small. So
he's going to get them.
Yeah, I mean, I've got. This is what I got. I mean, they get.
All right, those guys. Okay.
They thin out a decent bit, but I have seen the tiny capillary tips before. I mean, it gets to that, but it doesn't run long with that real thin capillary end.
You know what I use, Brendan? I buy these pipettes. These 1 millimeter pipettes is what I use. Those tips are good too. Trian, but I've like mostly
Yeah.
the 1mm pipettes. They're called transfer pipettes. You can buy them on eBay. These transfer pipettes, and they're excellent. And what I do is I pretty much would draw it up into the pipette, and I just recap the CA bottle. And I don't use any tips in my CA bottle. I just get the adhesive from the transfer pipette. That's how I do it.
Yeah, so those capillary tubes work good, and so there's a trick to it, Brennan. So you don't want to squeeze the bottle. So what you want to do, you hold the bottle kind of straight up like this, and let's say you want to glue. Let's say you want to glue this point here. You come with the bottle like this, put the tip on, right, and just tilt it over, right?
Yep.
Okay, and let it go. Tilt it over, come back, let it go, right? Okay. So the idea is you don't squeeze the bottle. As soon as you squeeze the bottle, it's a lot of stuff coming out. You only need a drop, and it's going to wick everywhere, especially if you have a nice fit in between them.
All right, you got that, Engstrom? He's the glue guy. He's got some glue on. Excited, he's got some glue on already.
Yeah, and you know, you can find at a hobby store. There are some very small capillary tubes, like Charles was saying. You can also find these guys here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, they work.
Yeah, these guys. This is what I'm using. The tip is very small. It's maybe 15 thousandths of an inch inside of the diameter. It's just very, very tiny. So yeah, that's all I do. I just say, if you want to glue here, I just touch it and tilt my bottle like that, and you can see it when it wicks down, and you can tilt the bottle back down and release, something like that.
That's a good tip, Ryan.
It works for me. I mean, that's how I glue everything in airplane.
Yeah.
So, the capillary tubes, that's the trick with the capillary tubes. Very simple to do. When you put them on, what you do, you take a piece of tape. Let's say this is the capillary tube like this, right?
All right,
there
you go.
Let's see. Let me think if I have something here. All right. Say this is the capillary tube, and it goes inside your bottle. So you just stuff it in there, right?
Right.
You take your tape, piece of tape. Obviously, if I want to demonstrate this, I need a bigger tape, right? A wider one to scale, right?
Yeah.
So what you do, you put a tape like this on both of them.
Right.
Right. And then you fold it over in half. But what you're gonna get there, see, watch this. So you go like this, and you go like this. Kind of like this, right? You see?
Yeah.
So that's the tube is in here. So what you do, you hold it like this, and you rotate it around like this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Neat trick.
Sense?
I didn't know that.
So you're gonna tape one side, and on the other side is gonna be the tube from your bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what you don't want to do, you don't want to do this, like many, probably you'll do it. You don't want to do this. Come all the way around and do that.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Don't do that.
Make
it extra big, fold it over on itself, and then as you hold your finger in here, as you rotate this around like this, and you move your finger up and down, just rotate, right? Because you have the extra tab on both sides, it's going to collapse and seal all the edge, including on the bottom. You have no leaks in there at all.
Fantastic. Yeah, because mine leaked, obviously, and went down my hand. And,
Yeah, and probably goes on your rods too.
Yes. And, Wendy never showed that. I always saw Wendy using the Teflon tubes and taping it, but he never showed, like you showed, that technique. So thank you.
Does anybody know the easiest way to get those rods out of there?
Yeah. The easiest way to get the rods out of there?
Yank them.
Yeah. Take a drill.
I knew that was coming.
I will not pull them out at all. I will not pull them out. Rotate them on in spot without pulling them out until they break loose, And then as you rotate them slowly, just slowly pull them out, work their way out. But you don't want to just drag them out. That will work too.
That's
But
right.
be careful. You can destroy your whole plane with that drill.
You have to have a little common sense and go slow, but just barely move it and get it spinning and just start pulling.
What year did you get that baby?
But
use a half-inch hammer drill, get it done.
Yeah. What year did you buy that baby?
Oh God, I've had this thing 40 years.
I think that was his dad's drill.
Yeah, no,
probably
Phil,
was.
before you do that, just don't glue it in.
That's it. But the trick is, like somebody showed earlier,
disciplined.
wax
Yeah,
them.
you have to be disciplined what you're doing with the glue bottle.
Yeah.
Right? Be careful, take your time, just go put the tip in there, flip it over, move away from the rods, not over the rods, away from the ribs or something like that. If anything drips, you want to drip on a rod and not where the rod meets the rib, for example.
You want to glue that rib to the rod, right? You want that glue to be between the ribs, but not.
A drop on the rod is not going to hurt anything, but a drop where the rod meets the rib, then you have to pay the price.
Break it loose.
Right. So you want to scrape the rod with a blade. Make sure that those tubes are clean.
Yeah.
When we get to the after party, I'll tell you guys who's the wildest guy I ever saw with a CA bottle.
All right.
Is he Canadian?
No. No, he's not actually.
If anybody that's been building doesn't have a CA bottle story somehow that they've
we've all got a few of those, Danny.
Or made a mess. Yeah.
Oh, only that? What about the story with the epoxy glue?
Oh, we got those stories too.
Yeah. How about that guy at Brodax who sang with the banjo? He did that one song about the CA when he CA'd his CA himself to the chair, and he just came downstairs to check his glue up, and I don't think he was even dressed. You remember that song? I remember seeing it on one of the Brodak videos.
I remember hearing about it.
Wendy glued his hand to the table.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah,
well,
but
this guy glued something to the chair, though.
Yes, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Keep it clean, but just kind of think about it. You come down and check your glue up. You don't necessarily get dressed to your own house, but to ask for help was another challenge.
Yeah.
Brandon, I have a question for you. When you this kit that you are having right now, does it have the holes for the rods built into the ribs?
No, we had to press those. There was, if you can see, we're using the front part of it. We had it mapped out, but then we had to press a hole into the back there. So we stacked them all up, got them all the same size, and then pressed a hole in them.
Why do you complicate things?
That comes natural usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
It's a straight wing, right?
Yeah.
Put the wing on the plans. Wherever you don't have a rib, take a piece of 1/16 balsa and elevate the lower spar off the plans, right? Just keep it off the plans. And for the trailing edge, you can put a piece of 1/16 like this, balsa scrap or whatever you have over there, and draw a line through all of them. So as long as your trailing edge is equal size from the bottom of your table, your wing is going to be straight. You don't need no rods. Make sense?
Yeah, he's already committed toward the rods.
Yeah, don't try to change it.
There's nothing wrong with the rods, Brandon. Fine. I mean, you're already down the road. Go ahead and continue.
Well, if the holes are not right, then you screw it. Okay.
Well, he's going to build that. He's going to get that no-go gauge. He's going to keep it together.
Yeah, I think we're doing all right. I think we got.
I'm going to tell you what. There's more ways to build a wing. Yeah. I know a guy who builds a wing, and he's got a board, just figure a 1/4-inch plywood board, and he puts slots in it where the ribs are going to be. and he puts his spars go in the ribs, and then it sets on the board with the ribs sticking up at every station.
Yeah, sure.
And he builds the trailing edge. He glues his spars in. How the heck he don't glue the spars to that table, I don't know. But then he takes the wing out and he turns it over and he puts it back in here. Well, now it's still the spar on top of the board, but the leading edge is all sticking up. And he puts his leading edge on. And he uses all molded leading. I've never seen him use anything but a molded leading edge. But he'll put his molded leading edges on with it sitting there like that. And when he takes it out, all he's got to do is put his caps on from the spar back to the trailing edge, and the wing's finished.
Bloody right.
All done on a piece of wood, and that's the only spar I've ever seen him use. And this guy's built hundreds of models. Pretty stuff. Pretty stuff. He don't really build stunners so much as he builds museum quality semi scales. And golly, he built some beautiful stuff. But he has built some stunners and flown with us, and he's quite good builder.
Hey, Howard Rush has a question. Howard Rush, I see your hand's up, Howard. Go ahead.
I was going to show you Derek Moran's technique for putting on hot stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. You put a drop of it on. Well, I've got a piece of Teflon film here, but you can use polyethylene probably. And you get the pipette tip and suck up a little of it in the pipette tip. Do you get any?
Right now we're seeing the edge of the file cabinet.
Okay, yeah.
Now we see it. Okay.
You suck it up in the pipette tip, and then you touch the pipette tip to whatever you're putting the hot stuff on, and it will.
Yeah.
Oh, I like. I always dip my pipettes into my bottle. I like your idea better, Howard.
That's a cool idea.
This way you can dispense just a little bit of it into whatever you're gluing.
That's a good idea, Howard. I like
it. What are you doing? Trying to build light?
Yeah.
A couple different pipettes. I don't remember.
That's awesome.
I think Bowie. So
now how did you suck it up? You didn't show how you sucked it up. How did you suck it up?
Just touch it to the drop.
And that pulls it up? Okay.
Yeah, it'll wick up into it.
All right. I didn't see your lips around that pipette, so I was curious.
No, you don't.
Yeah, don't try that.
I can also tell you my hot stuff story.
Okay.
PA story. I was in my basement in the old house, and late at night, and this after I'd retired, my wife hadn't. I was gluing stuff up, and I glued both hands to the bench.
Both hands.
Ooh, that's not good.
So I called Marlou. She woke up, came downstairs, and I said, "Would you put a bottle of nitro over there?" She got a bottle of nitro out of the cabinet, brought it over so I could dissolve the glue. Went back up to bed, and never said a word, and marked about it the next day. It's just sort of a routine thing for her.
Wow, that's awesome. But she could have left while your hands were glued.
Yeah.
Wow.
That'd be more fun.
But that's a good hint about the nitromethane.
Good.
Nitromethane will release the CA, so that's a good tip for those who are listening.
It sure will.
Always had the little joke about the guy who was gluing CA, had some on his hand, and he said, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
Oh,
get you.
Oh.
Thank you, Howard, and thank you, John. That's funny.
That's good.
I don't mind telling dumb stuff on myself because I think everybody's done some things. Maybe
we've all done that.
Maybe not as dumb as this is going to be, but I was going to put a new tip on a thin CA bottle. Yeah, it's a fairly new bottle, so the top was pretty clean. It was a brand new tip, so I put it on, and couldn't get anything out, so I popped the tip off. Yeah, looked in it.
It's getting ugly.
I looked in it and I went,
Oh, oh,
Oh
snap.
boy, now everything's glued together.
Except when I went. Luckily, there was just enough moisture that it didn't really stick, but there was about a 2-second warmth feeling there that this is going to be bad.
You know, I darn near half cut off my middle finger right there. And I was looking at it as a prop cut. I was looking at it, I was out of the field, and I said, I got to fix that. So I got my rag, and a clean rag, and I cleaned off best I could. And I thought, wait a minute, I heard about using hot stuff So I got up, got something, pushed it on it, so it all came together, and I ran a little teeny bead of hot stuff on there, and it burned a little bit, but not bad. Yeah, not bad, but I could handle it, and pulled my finger away, and it wasn't bleeding anymore.
Fucking marvel. Sorry,
so then I
marvelous.
really laid it on and got a good coating so it wouldn't wear off easy, and I kept flying and everything else. Well, by the time when that did come off a couple of days later, it was healing pretty well. And now I can't even find the spot where it was. It healed up so well.
Damn, that's marvelous.
Yeah, CA is great for cuts. You're right. CA's
they're closing surgeries now with what they call dermaglue. Dermaglue is basically medical grade.
Yeah, that's what I had done.
That's what the CA was developed for in the first place.
Yeah,
that's what it was developed for.
No more.
Another story. We were at a combat contest one time, and Bob Carver discovered his CA bottle came open, and the bottom of his toolbox, and the slides were all encased CA. And he was this, and Richard Stubblefield came up and said, Bob, if you put rubber bands around your lines, you wouldn't have to hot stuff them.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Oh, very good.
I
don't like putting rubber bands around my lines because if I forget about the lines, it is a pain in the butt to clean your lines of old rubber band material.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, especially if you leave them all over the lines for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, because they go bad. Yeah.
Get a little fuel on them too, and that helps.
I got a hot stuff story from when I was working at Honda. I was working at Honda one day, and I working in the engine room, and I cut my finger. And I hated going to the nurse because all of a sudden now you're into paperwork and everything else. And of course, my boss is right there beside me, of course, when it happens. And he says, "Oh, you're on your way to the nurse right now." I said, "Whoa, just hold on a minute. Give me a bottle of that glue over there." He goes, what the hell are you going to do with that? And it was hot stuff. They had it there right at Honda. I said, "Watch this." Zinged it right around my finger. There you go. Fixed. Let's go back to work.
Very good.
He couldn't believe it. He goes, "You're kidding me, aren't you?" I said, "Nope."
Very good, Lynn.
"Do you see any blood?" He says, "Nope." I said, "Back to work."
Very good.
Oh yeah. He says, "You're on your way to the nurse." I said, "No, just hang on."
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it works good.
When I had hair, one of the things I was always worried about was getting that stuff in my hair. I saw somebody get it in their hair once.
Yeah, look what happened.
I know. I'm a member of that club too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I tell you, it makes a mess. You got it. The only way to get it out is the scissors and a razor.
Yep.
That's it.
It's the only way to get it off your workbench too.
Yeah.
Well, what's everybody building? Is anybody building anything?
I've been helping Naomi with her magician. We've got it all together. You want to see it?
Yeah. Yeah, get some more exercise.
A little one, a 15 size.
Oh, that's a cute.
That'd be cool.
Plane.
Hey, I had one of those. Those are fun to fly.
They look like it. I've seen them fly.
Yeah, what engine she got put on it? Oh, he's gone.
He'll be right back. He went to go get it.
I had
John.
an India 15 on mine.
John, when is the best time to call you?
Most any time during the day or halfway through the night.
Well, your mailbox is full.
Well, I know because I hardly ever go there. Just,
okay.
You know, I'm going to tell you that right now.
I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah, if you got the same phone number you had last year,
yeah,
then I've got you in there. It should come up and tell me who you are. And, and if I'm not there to answer, it should tell me you tried to call me.
Yeah, I'll call you again tomorrow. I want to pick your brains on a couple things.
Oh no, I won't have any left.
Oh well, yeah, you will. We won't pick them. We'll just scratch them a little bit, you know.
Oh, okay.
Now, I want to figure out what to do to read. I want to redesign this wing and go and get this Pathfinder going. I went upstairs today and spent about 2 hours looking at a LE wing. It's too big to go. That's cute. It's too big to go in a Pathfinder, but I want to build one. I want to build one.
You did really good. You and Naomi did a good job at that, Lynn.
Oh, she's excited about flying this one. It turned out really well so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cute.
John want to know what motor he's going to put in that.
LA 15.
All right.
LA 15. That's a
LA 15. Yeah, it should be
I
good.
put an India 15 in mine.
That'll work too.
Oh yeah, it worked good.
For sure.
It's like a rocket.
Oh yeah.
Lynn, this is
The
a scratch
first time I
build?
went to BFC, that's what I
No,
was.
it's a kit. It's an old kit. We got an old kit. We had an old kit for a 48-inch one and an old kit for a 15 size one. And we built both of them.
Outstanding. I had one I took to VSC. The first time I went to VSC, it was like 91 or 92, somewhere in there. And I'm flying it in classic. And I get out there and I fly the whole thing. I didn't know who the judge was, but I get done flying. I land it, and Bob Hunt stands up. He was judging me. He says, "Hey, that's the first time I've seen one of those little magicians ever go through the full pattern."
Yeah. Naomi's really improved on her cloth hinges.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's gotten really good at. She's gotten very proficient at them.
Oh yeah.
I was pretty impressed.
Looks nice.
Looks like she's going to be better builder than you are.
Yeah, it won't be long.
Yeah.
She has good attention to detail. I don't. I get lazy because I've built too many airplanes.
On your wingtips,
yes,
because I'm going to change the wingtips on that little fancy pants too, because I just hate the little 1/8. You know.
Oh, I know they're a pain in the butt. Oh, yeah. The hardest wingtips I ever built on a model airplane was a Brodak Shark 402. Oh, they were horrible. I've never seen wingtips so bad in all my life.
I got one for you. Do the Kenai Cougar one time.
Oh yeah.
There's it's very elliptical, and there's like about 7 pieces that make up that wingtip. And then it's too thin to do anything with. You still got to cover it with something.
Well, that's my point. I like to make them a little bit thicker, like on that little fancy pants. I'm going to put a little thicker wood on there.
So, good idea.
So when you come around, you got something to bite to.
A little bit of meat.
Yeah, exactly.
All you have to do is cut like you're making an I-beam rib. Follow the shape of the tip, put it on there, and then you can shape it, bend it down and around. Look at what
Dennis got.
Look what Dennis got.
What you got, Dennis? It's too high. You gotta lower it. We can't see it.
Can't hear you.
You're muted, Denny.
How about now?
That's better. Now we got it.
I got you.
All right.
I love that battery box.
Yeah, this is the new conversion for the Flight Streak.
All right.
I'm working on writing up the instruction for it right now.
Really? It looks like someone else is typing.
I'll get that turned in by Monday.
Cool.
But yeah, it's just basically the same basic formula I've been following on a lot of other profiles. One of the problems, of course, with the Flight Streak is it's got a really short nose.
Yeah.
So the battery goes back into the wing quite a bit. And then to help get access to the battery, I made this little piece here.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Battery
hey, Brendan, you paying attention, Brendan?
And then put that in there.
Wow, I've never seen.
That's cool.
That is really neat.
That's
Danny.
really ingenious, Dennis.
You
Good
just use
job,
magnet.
Dennis.
Yeah,
Just
so the
magnet.
the back of the box is basically the same width as the battery, so it'll actually help retain it. Plus, there's going to be, just a Velcro one-way strap around the whole thing. Plus, of course, the
Nice.
fact that the battery comes in from the inboard side means that there's basically no stress on any of the retention, pieces.
Yeah.
That is cool.
That's the way I
Yeah.
want to do my twister, just like that. That's cool.
And you have magnets on that little piece you took out.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Okay. Yeah.
Very nice.
Very
Yeah.
ingenious, Dennis. That's really
Yeah, one
impressive.
on the side, one on the back. And it's basically just a little, section of the wing rib, and basically build it
Right.
at the same time as the wing to snap it in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did you do to back up the gap there to cross under the fuselage? Where you cut, where you got you cut back for your battery. You cut the leading edge. Did you put anything at the back of the battery cutout going under the fuselage?
No, the fuselage is wide open. There's a added spar in the wing.
Right.
That's what I was asking.
That's the back of the battery box.
That's what I was asking about right there.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is well engineered.
Yeah. Now what I do have to do with this is I had to move the bell crank back about 3/8 of an inch or so.
To get clearance.
All right,
That should
because
be-
because
that
this
shouldn't hurt.
platform is in the way of where the normal bell crank location would be.
Okay.
So,
That shouldn't hurt.
That's awesome. Good job.
but it builds pretty easily, and for those of us who like electrifying things, it should work well. And one other thing I've done with this is, hey, it's a flight streak, and flight streaks go fast, right? Or at least they do.
Yeah.
A 95-mile-an-hour flight streak is a blast. And
Oh, yeah.
and my goal here is I've actually modified the front of the engine mount in such a way that I can put one of the EF1 pylon racing motors on it. And that motor will turn an 8.8 APC prop at about 17,500.
Oh, Jesus, Murphy.
Which puts it in the category, I think, of something like a Fox 36X or something like that, would have turned an 8.8 prop around that fast, which I think means it's a 100-mile-an-hour flight streak, which would
Well,
be
I'll tell you
cool.
what,
Which,
Danny,
as electrics go, would be cooler than hell. So
back in the old days, in the really old time stunt, they flew at 80 to 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
So you're going back to the roots.
Well, it's a flight streak. Flight streaks are supposed to go fast, but yeah, you're right. And you can get there from here if you can make an electric do anything you want if you want to pay for it, in the battery or in the prop or something like that.
Yeah.
It's nice for sport and stunt, but I'd like to try to explore some of the higher performance options and just see what we can get out of it.
That's awesome.
Well, a wing over at 95 miles an hour with a pull out 2 feet above the ground is really awesome.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, pull it 2 feet under the ground is too, but boy, what a mess.
What I'd really like to do is, have you seen the vintage combat guys? They do something called speed stunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, where they go out and they just try to do all the tricks as fast as they can, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they get times of, if you're going fast, you do it about a minute, all right, to do a complete stunt pattern.
Are they giving 2
Wow.
hours between
Yeah.
the maneuvers?
And I think it would be fun just to see how fast, I think I can go faster than the slowest, not as slow, slower than the fastest, but I think somewhere in the middle of the pack, which wouldn't be bad,
Cool.
That's
that's
a lot of fun.
Look forward to seeing that fly.
That's it. Well, John, get work on you lay off some of that pizza maybe, and you can fly it yourself. All right, how's that sound?
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I lost so much weight with the COVID. I'm just now getting back to my original weight.
Well, you get back, maybe we should work on something like one of Gordon's. I can't remember the name of his combat plane, but maybe we could do something with that. So
I've got the plans for most of his combat planes. I drew them for him, or he asked me to draw them up. Then he built, and he's got one of each of them all hanging in his shop.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, my brother's built a
We'll see y'all
half
next
fast.
All right, see you, Brendan.
See you, Brendan.
Hey, Brendan.
Thanks for all the
See you
tips.
guys.
Oh, you're welcome.
Did you get
And,
half of it done? Did you get half of it done?
we got the front and the back part just lightly glued on there and whatnot. We'll get it done more tomorrow. We'll get the spar on top, flip it over and stuff. So
Perfect.
I don't know. We were looking for precision. We were doing a lot of measuring. So it's equal. It's equal off the ground. So it's
Gonna be straight.
Good.
That's good.
It's straight, but it took forever. But it's a learning curve.
Well, it does take a while, but
Quality takes time.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Hey, as long as it flies straight.
Yeah.
that's it.
Thanks for coming in, Brandon and Angstrom. Thank you very much, you guys.
All
Keep your
right.
daddy out of
We
trouble.
can continue on, Dennis, but Howard does have a question. So when you're done, Dennis, Howard will be able to chime in.
I don't really have anything else to add, but question was, what have you been working on? That's what I've been working on. So.
Excellent.
Looks
All
like you've been busy. Like you've been busy.
All right, Howard, we have an opening for you to.
I was just going to point out that tonight in real time, I came up with a building tip. These little
Cups.
dose cups.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Brodak has them, but
Yeah, they do actually.
Melvin Shooty sells them. They're not all the same. Some of them are made of polypropylene, like this one. It has acetone in it, and it's doing fine. But I pulled one out of the drawer that was different than this earlier, and it was soluble in acetone.
Oh,
There's quite a mess on the bench now.
Oh, that's no good.
Oh, no.
well, now
In other words, watch what you're pouring it into.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, not everything looks alike is alike.
So another tidbit is I talked to Joe Gilbert tonight for this, and he doesn't have enough Wi-Fi poop to participate.
I know. You told me
He
that.
went on YouTube, and he says there's a bunch of smart people on there. So my message to all you people is to smarten up, because Joe's expecting smart people.
All right.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
Well, there's a lot of smart asses on here anyway.
We'll have to drink our smart water then. Oh Lordy.
I got to go check all my cups now because I ordered like 100 of those things. I actually come from Brodak, so I'll check and see if they're gonna melt.
Yeah.
This peak on the bottom is polypropylene. Okay.
Yeah. Oh me. I think I'm gonna have to go walk a terrace, being as it's midnight.
Better, you might not have any airplanes left by morning.
Yeah, it's 32 degrees outside. It's been snowing like heck for the last couple hours. So this could be fun. This could be fun. But I'll see everybody Friday, Monday. Y'all be careful. Have a great weekend.
You too,
Don't
Phil.
look like we're gonna do any any flying, because you can't even get up the hill at Hobby Park. I went by there today. So we'll see what happens, but everybody have a great weekend and stay out of trouble. Big John, I'll call you sometime tomorrow. Lynn, have a great.
Yeah, same to you, Phil. Have a good
All
one.
right, thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Take care.
Phil.
Yeah. Good night, Bill.
Oh, well, we're past midnight, so we can end the live stream and go to the after party. And we had a pretty good show. Looks like at the height of our viewing audience, we had like 25 people. We have 20 likes, and we had some chatting on the line there from different people, and then we had some interesting conversations. And so it was a very good show. Thank you very much for coming in, you guys. I appreciate it. And this is Friday. I know I had written in the title originally Monday, and Sparky caught that and fixed that.
Excuse me.
We'll be back Monday for real, and we will see you then. Matter of fact, someone just typed in David. I'm not sure how to say your last name. I think it's Lacasse or Lacassie. He says, "Hello, everyone." Hello, David. Thanks for coming in. David, if you are a member of Stunthanger, you can find the link to come into the after party. I'm going to end the live stream, but if you want to continue to fellowship with us, that'd be the way to do it. Anybody in the chat box as well, you can find the link in the Stunthanger forum. Go to At the Bench. You'll see the link with today's date. It might still say Monday, but it's the date's correct. Click on that. That'll bring you into this space, and we can continue on without everyone watching us. So we kind of let it loose a little bit in the after party. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to say good night. We'll be back Monday. Go out there, have some fun, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Let me get the